Well, you know, listening to my opponent, you'd get the impression she has a rather harsh view of my service. Let me just start by saying I've been elected leader of my party unanimously multiple times. The U.S. Senate is a place, as you can imagine, with a lot of sharp elbows and big egos, a lot of very capable people, or they wouldn't have gotten that far in the first place. To have been chosen the leader ought to tell you that they have confidence in my judgment to try to move the country in a different direction. From a Kentucky point of view, we are uniquely well situated, as I said earlier. We've only had two party leaders in the history of our state. It puts me in the middle of virtually every big decision that we make in the Senate. I think that's a distinct advantage for our state. The chances are overwhelming that somebody new replacing me in this job would never be in that position in the future, but even if they were, it would be a long time coming. So you're looking at a dramatic loss of influence for our state. With regard to agriculture in particular, the issue is not how many times do you show up for committee hearings. The issue is, have you made a difference? I've won 2 Golden Plows. I'm the only member of the Senate at the moment who's won 2 Golden Plows. That's the highest award the American Farm Bureau can give you. I think they have a better sense of how effective I've been for agriculture than my opponent. In terms of Kentucky-specific things, I mentioned the funding for our ag schools at UK and Western and Murray. The tobacco buyout was a conspicuous accomplishment. We were going to lose that asset which the government had created and get nothing for it. And honestly, it's pretty hard to sell anything on tobacco these days in Washington. I did it almost single-handedly. The death tax. I'd love to get rid of it entirely. But we have a Democratic Senate. They love the death tax. Nancy Pelosi was outraged at the $5 million exemption and the permanency and the indexation and tried to kill it without success. Everybody who supports my opponent loves the death tax. They think it's a great idea for you to work your entire life and have the government step in and confiscate your property at the end. This is a big race about big things. What kind of country do you want to have? Do you think we're headed in the right direction? The only way to change the direction in our country that can be accomplished this year is to change the United States Senate and to begin to regain the America that we've lost over the last 6 years. Stop the spending, the borrowing, the taxing, the regulating. Go in a different direction. Now, the president's still there for 2 more years, but it definitely changes directions. And Kentucky has an opportunity here for the second time in its history to have somebody right in the middle of taking us to a new place. I don't think we ought to lose that opportunity. I don't think our state ought to lose the chance to have this kind of clout and influence on our behalf. Things like the tobacco buyout and the death tax and the hemp authorization don't just automatically happen. Every senator has a vote, but every senator is not equal. So this is the chance this year for our delegation to be probably in the most influential position it's ever been in. My colleague may even be President of the United States. Hal Rogers is chairman of the Appropriations Committee. Ed Whitfield in 2 years is going to be chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House. We are in a position to have a major, major impact on our country and its future. And that, my friends, is what this election this year in our state is about. Every liberal in the country would love to see my opponent win, even though they're not too sure what her name is. They know my name. And so this is a big race. Are the people around the country going to tell us who's going to be the senator from Kentucky, or are we going to make that decision with somebody consistent with our values and beliefs and ambitions? Thank you.
Secretary, I got to write this down. Secretary.
Thank you, Mark. Well, I want to thank the members of the Kentucky Farm Bureau for a wonderful afternoon. You have been gracious hosts, and I think to show the clear contrast that exists between Senator McConnell and myself. One, the Washington establishment, one, Kentucky, one, the past, one, the future, one that is okay with more fighting, as we heard here today. Send it back another 6 years, you'll get 6 more years of fighting, or one that knows Kentucky can't afford the constant and continued gridlock that's had real consequences on our farmers and our farm families across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I told you at the beginning of this, you would hear Senator McConnell claim just give him 6 more years because he wants a self-promotion that he hopes will eventually trickle down to us. He wants a self-promotion. I want to be Kentucky's agriculture senator. He doesn't think that Kentuckians have been disadvantaged by the lapse in the Farm Bill. I know, and you know, otherwise. He seems to want to tout the accomplishments that he's had. 30 years, I should hope there's some accomplishments. And this board recognized along the way. But there's room on the plaque for a new name, especially when the era of earmarks is over. We have to have a United States senator that can actually sit down and work with Democrats, Republicans, and independents to deliver for the people of Kentucky. And I told you, Senator McConnell wants to run this race against anyone but me. I'm surprised you didn't even hear him mention my name today. He wants to tie me to every national figure that's out there that disagrees with Kentucky. You heard him mention from Harry Reid to Debbie Stabenow to Elizabeth Warren. Each and every one of you, the people across Kentucky, they know I speak for myself. I am a strong, independent Kentucky woman that knows it's the farmers and our farm families that are keeping Kentucky going and growing in the right direction, and they deserve to have an advocate fight for them. 30 more years of the same, or finally giving Kentucky the fighter that they need and deserve. Washington isn't working for us, and after 30 years, regardless of who is in the White House or who he or she might be in the White House in years to come, the common denominator for the problems we are facing, it's Mitch McConnell. He's the reason the mess exists. He's the reason the president is wrongly using executive orders. This gridlock, it has real consequences, consequences that I know have disadvantaged the farmers and farm families of Kentucky. I know the first-generation lamb farmer from Mercer County that's looking to have a fighter in the United States Senate. I know the tobacco farmer that knows comprehensive immigration reform needs to get done. I know the farmers in West Kentucky who tear up at the thought of a farm bill actually lapsing again because that broken promise, well, it happened under Mitch McConnell. We can't afford any more broken promises. We need a senator that will actually show up to the Agriculture Committee meetings and fight to make sure that our farmers and farm families are represented. We need a senator that will actually speak up when it comes to bipartisan work. We need a senator that will actually stand up and not delegate the responsibility to senators from as far away as North Dakota. Our Kentucky farmers and farm families deserve to have a fighter that can get Washington working again, that is in touch with all that our farmers face from sunrise to sundown, someone that believes we've had enough of 30 years of Mitch McConnell. This election, these possibilities, having a senator on the Agriculture Committee in more than just name only, having someone that will fight to make sure the Farm Bill doesn't lapse, someone that will fight to make sure our markets, especially those abroad, are open to our farmers and our ag exports, and someone that does, yes, believe the estate tax. We need to make that $5 million exemption permanent, but we likewise need to look into making an additional $5 million exemption for agriculture estates a possibility as well. this and working to make sure that our women get equal pay for equal work, that we're supporting our veterans, and that we're growing our middle class, these are not just dreams, these are possibilities. But it requires Kentucky to step up and put out to pasture a senator of the past and finally elect Kentucky's senator for our future. We cannot afford 6 more years of broken promises from Mitch McConnell. Together, we will build that bright future that our farm families need and deserve. Thank you.
Please join me in thanking the folks that have been here today. Thank you so much.